This machine kills fascism.
Woody was a union man, and he was, can you hear me up there?
Yeah.
Good. Woody was a union man. He was fighting fascists back in the World War II, and he had on his guitar the words written, "This machine kills fascists." A fabulous song. Fabulous song. I've got it. We'll play it a little bit later. And I want to welcome you all for coming here today. Thank you. I know it's a busy weekend with Easter egg hunts, fixing food. But this is so important. I really felt like we could not wait. We have to keep our momentum up to push back. Woo! Woo-hoo! So we the people are here today to make our voices heard, loud and clear. We are gathering to demand our leaders respect and protect our Constitution, our democracy, free speech, due process, checks and balances, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I love those beeping horns. They're just great, aren't they? Woo-hoo! Woo! We've got a lot of support. Woohoo! Okay, so since I'm up here, I'm going to be your first speaker. I'm really nervous about this, so bear with me. So when I was trying to get speakers for this event, I ran into trouble because of the Easter holiday. A lot of people were out of town. But I really wanted to speak about immigrants, our local immigrants and refugees here in Roanoke. And I got introduced to a group through the Do Good group. I've been to 2 of their meetings, and they really focus a lot on refugees and immigrants locally. It's going to be hard to hear with these horns, but just it's good support. So I talked to them about what I could share because they were going to be out of town. So they work with a group called Roanoke Refugee Partnership. Great group. Who all's heard of it? Raise your hands if you've heard of it. Because I had not. I did not realize there was a group like that in Roanoke. And I just want to say how grateful I am that Roanoke has an organization dedicated to helping our refugees and immigrants. I also want to impress upon everyone here how scared this community is. They're watching people being kidnapped on American streets by men in hoodies, black hoodies, and wearing masks who barely identify who they are, stuffed into cars, and some are sent to a prison in El Salvador with no hope of getting out. So they can't come out, really. They can't be here. They don't feel comfortable really anywhere right now. And it's up to us really to help them. So I'm going to share ways of which we can help our local immigrants, okay? So the Roanoke Refugee Partnership, and you can look it up, it's those words exactly, Roanoke RefugeePartnership.org. They work in education. They work alongside families to determine the educational needs of each family member, whether it is an adult who wants to learn to speak English or children who need help to catch up in school. So they need volunteers to help with that. They also do asylum assistance, and they have to go through a really lengthy and complicated process for applying for asylum. in addition to paperwork. This requires people to document their stories in order to prove their need for resettlement. The RRP, that's what I'm going to call the Roanoke Refugee Partnership because it's shorter and I'm getting tongue-tied. The RRP helps fund this process, and volunteers work with families, lawyers, and interpreters throughout. And they join to help create a safe environment for the immigrants. They work on citizenship program. Has anybody here ever taken that citizenship test?
Nope, born in Maryland.
I'll bet you a good number of us. I'll bet a good number. I'm pretty sure a good number of us would not be able to pass that test. It's hard, and we forget it. So they need help studying for the citizenship test and for travel. They have to go to West Virginia for biometric screenings and to Norfolk to take the test. So they need people to drive them. They work with Blue Ridge Literacy to help them to understand English so they can take the test. So that's another way you can help. Household relief. Sometimes families outgrow their living space or need to move for a variety of reasons. RRP volunteers and coordinates with families to find new housing and move belongings from one place to the next. It also coordinates necessities that they need either by purchasing or getting donations. Medical and mental health, mentors and tutors in RRP identify those who are in need of medical or mental health services. They believe strongly in access to both of these. Volunteers often provide transportation and assistance. And this is especially good for people out here that are retired, because a lot of those appointments are during the day. So if you're not working and you could do that, it would be very, very helpful. So what do they need? They need money. They really need money. So if you want to donate to this group, it'd be great. For things like rent and utilities, they need volunteers for the drivers, the job interviews, the doctor's appointments. They need tutors to help them to learn English, study for citizenship. And there are applications on their website to volunteer. And that's what I have to say. It would take 3 giant billboards for me to say everything I'm outraged about that's happening right now. And that's why I'm here today. So we're going to move on to the next speaker.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Nathaniel Aldridge. Nathan. I'm sorry, Nathan.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it very much. I can talk very loud. My name is Nathan. I have lived in the Roanoke Valley for over 30 years. Most of that was in Salem. I spent 6.5 years at James Madison University getting a degree. My first senior year. Louder? You can't hear me? Woo! I never get told that. So I've lived in Salem for 30 years, and then this past summer I moved to Roanoke County. I'm starting a family in Roanoke County with my wife. I want to protect the rights of my future daughter. I want to protect the rights of all women here in their country from being stripped. Further up at Bing Klein's 6th district, I was at James Madison University. While I was there, I got a brain tumor. I developed a mild version of narcolepsy, which required me to pay $1,203 each month until I reached a $5,000 deductible in 2013. Then the Affordable Care Act has now saved me $106,000 over 11 years. Thanks to the patient protections for pre-existing conditions, and the cost reductions for people with low incomes. I have a low income. I earn $13.34 an hour providing services to individuals in our community with disabilities. I recently discovered that one of my clients makes more per hour than I do working at Walmart. And I'm glad he's making a fair wage, earning the Waltons even more money. But that's a little insulting to hear that your clients are making more money than you when you're providing them with services. And my services are not easy things to provide. Anyone could do it, but they're not easy to provide. I go out in the community with my clients and I help them engage in social activities. I help them exercise. I help them better their lives and be as part of the community. The Americans with Disability Act says that individuals with a disability are allowed to live in their community in the least restrictive environment possible. The least restrictive environment possible. Individuals all too often are shoved into group homes or nursing homes where this is not an appropriate setting for them. That leaves them feeling isolated from their community. It leaves them feeling rejected and unwanted. And then they tend to lash out at the people who do try to care for them. I'm the face of society when I go into work with my clients. Everything that's wrong with society, they see in me, and they take it out. Yeah! Woo! They take it out on us. For that job, I get paid $13.34 an hour. And they live in horrible housing situations. I've had clients living with drug dealers as their neighbor. Violent crime going on where the police had to be called twice because no one wanted to go out and point to the drug dealer's door. People who can't help but be who they are, and they cannot find jobs that will employ them enough to earn a living wage. Everyone deserves a living wage. If you put forth the effort to work, you should get what you earn. And now, Musk and his Doge team and his allies and the GOP want to cut $880 billion from Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. These are the programs that our most vulnerable citizens rely upon to survive in our country. And you want to take that away from them? Hands off our money! That is our money that we are paying for our community to be stronger. Take your hands off! Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Our next speaker is going to be Ellen and another concerned citizen. Here she comes. Thank you.
Ellen! Woo!
Sean! Well, let's see. I'm age 73. Okay? There was a time I didn't even want to say, okay? But the point is, I've been out here as an activist since the 70s. I'm a child of the 60s, and of course I remember all the things that were going on then for human rights that's still going on. And you know, I had hoped to not have to still be fighting for simple human rights at this age. Okay? But I'll do it. Okay? I can't sit down, I can't lay down, I can't act like, you know, nobody needs me, it's just me. But the thing is, it's all of us. All of us here, all of us all over the country, everybody. And the thing is, there's so many things I'm concerned and upset and angry about. You know, I have to kind of hone in on what I'm going to talk about today, right? So Social Security is a big one for me. I paid for years and years and years into the system, and that's my damn money, okay? That's my money. And of course, the Republicans have wanted to do something to Social Security, and not a good thing. for decades. They never have liked us having that. And then there's Medicare, okay, my health insurance. And, you know, I pay for that, okay. Part of it is included, but I do pay for, you know, my supplemental, which is connected to Medicare. So, you know, I'm out here living my life, doing the best that I can, and helping my community when I can. But, you know, I don't appreciate those crooked, evil idiots continuing to march on and want to take away every benefit I have earned, you have earned. You know, it's...
And give it to the rich.
Yeah, and give it to the rich. So I'm a real PO'd about all of that. So I keep fighting.
Just a little?
Huh?
Just a little?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit pissed off about it. Okay? Freedom of speech. And, you know, there's a lot of crossover in that, as you've already heard today, and you heard last week, you heard April 5th, you'll hear all the time. Freedom of speech. You know, our college campuses, you know, students, whether they're naturalized U.S. citizens, or born here, or not born here, but still here legally, with all the paperwork to prove it, being silenced, being arrested. You know, I thought those days were gone. How many people here remember Kent State? I'm really showing, okay, all the stuff that happened. I was in high school when Kent State occurred, and all those arrests and the police brutalities. And here we are. And here we are. For what?
4 dead.
4 dead. Oh yeah, 4 dead. Yeah. Okay. You know, I had someone say to me recently that I need to find a way to have some peace of mind, because if I keep doing what I'm doing, you know, I won't, my emotions and my mental state, you know, won't be able to survive. That I have to find a way to stay calm. Well, for me, if I'm not out here and not helping and not speaking out, not doing what I can do, you know, that makes me upset. So, you know, this is where I need to be. So that freedom of speech, it scares me. It's like, you know, that orange idiot up there in the White House is saying homegrowns are next. I'm like, what about your wife? Okay? What about, you know, the hypocrisy of the GOP helping him to break law after law after law. And, you know, and they're afraid, you know, spineless. They're afraid. They say they're afraid because of elections coming up. Well, it ought to be the other way around, you know, because their constituents all across the country, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, I have already been speaking out, have already been showing up, have already been calling their offices, okay, upset. They ought to be worried because of that. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to propose to everybody out here. If you're not involved, coming to the protests and the rallies, that is important because that shows the community. That shows the community that we're not asleep. And even someone that doesn't show up at these rallies, but they're with us, you know, it probably helps that person to show up the next time, right? So these are important, but it's also important after the rallies, after the protests, you know, to keep fighting. People need to contact. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. So get involved. Get involved with candidates. Here in Virginia, we're being very closely watched. All across the country, governors of other states, and you can bet the legislative bodies in Washington are watching us. We have big elections coming up this November. Had governor's race, lieutenant governor, attorney general, okay? And then all across Virginia, we have countless House of Delegate races going on, and we have local elections for House of Delegates also. So you need to find out, if you don't already know, what district, state district you're in, and what delegate. Of course, there's one here today we already know very well, but there are other delegates, Democratic delegates running who've never run before in different districts. So find out your district if you don't already know. Find out the candidates and get on board and help out. You know, door to door, phone calls. If you're not comfortable with door to door, you can get a partner to go with you. Campaigns also welcome phone calls. Okay. Another way to get involved is to continue calling legislators, calling their offices. I don't care if you called 10 times last week. You call again. Set a goal for yourself, right? Set a goal. You know, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends who are also concerned. We have to keep this momentum going. We have to keep it going. We cannot rest. And when we get out there and we do all the things that it's suggested we do, and vote, yes, but stay involved, then we make a difference. And I don't know, I could go on and on and on, but it's time for me to stop, damn it. So, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you, Ellen. Erica has written her basically a speech in point format. So I'm very excited to hear it. Erica.
All right. She told me to eat the mic, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm here on behalf of all my trans brothers and sisters and non-binary siblings that are up on the hill and out there enjoying the traffic. So I've been asked to read a poem. So here it is. It's called Walk a Mile in My Shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes and pay your dues for wearing a transgender hat. Imagine that. All I gotta do is stop shaking now. Imagine that. Yes, imagine that you get that sidelong stare like you're not really there, where they have every right to exist, but you don't. You don't get to say to the world, hey, I'm a girl. If that world is your parents' house and they douse you with, you'll go to hell, or for God's sake, don't tell your brother, or use another means of getting through and just plain beat the crap out of you. You don't get that job that would keep you off the street, buy you food to eat, keep you warm and dry, instead of questioning why the hell the only way to make it is to rent your body. You don't get that apartment lease because the peace would be disturbed by a guy dressed as a girl. The plural of the binary is just too scary. And besides, what would the neighbors think? You don't get to pee in the only restroom that makes sense. I mean, what is the offense? Just because the powers that be can't see beyond their own perversions, the versions of which end up being laws that let them feel righteous, and guess what? They don't want you in either bathroom. You don't get the security that while you recover from surgery, your body and your core identity are respected, not rejected by a nurse who would rather curse than address you as she. You don't get a chance to romance a guy who caught your eye and try as you might, the sight of you makes him turn away or say he's gay, which would be okay, except that he's really straight and can't wait to vacate the premises. You don't get the right to simply exist as the MAGA autocracy twists you into a binary box that mocks your identity with their obscenities that paint you as a non-entity. Getting rough? Have you had enough? But hey, we're walking that mile in style. Head held high, you can't deny that there's power in the feeling that you own your own states in the face of the disgrace of all that nonsense. Your defense is standing proud, standing up to the crowd, well endowed with your self-awareness. Girl, well endowed with your self-awareness, girl, you own it. You own the right to fight for your identity, your serenity, your seat at the table, because you're able to see that you can be free from gender prison. You get to step outside of the box that locks the guys to their rocks, and you get to clock their world with your banner unfurled, saying, I'm out of my closet, and then pause it. How about you? You get to amuse yourself with the 10th or 12th time someone you don't even know chimes in with, so have you, had the operation? You get to smile as you watch the wheels turn, as the brain starts to burn of a passerby who tried, just as he might, can't reconcile the sight of your graceful presence. You get to walk with all of the people of color, the women, the poor, the gay, who still fight the same battles you're fighting today. Against the patriarchy and its duped recruits in their blood-stained suits of armor, protecting themselves from the other. You get to learn your true worth because you're giving birth to your authentic self, no puppet on a shelf. You're out there swinging, showing the world that this girl ain't singing the blues because she's got nothing to lose that hasn't got lost already. So take it from me, some free advice. Don't think twice, just roll the dice, pay the price, put your life on trial, and then put on a smile because you just walked a mile in my shoes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, Sean Kelly, my brother, he's up next.
All right, can you hear me up there? So, I just wanted to say that I didn't know what DEI was. What is this DEI business I've been hearing about? So I started looking into it, and they said they were hiring people that were unqualified. That's when I realized that it was Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka Trump. Woo! Okay, we all really know that's not what it is, but it is funny. So anyway, my existence on this planet, my earliest memories of a president in this world was Lyndon Baines Johnson. I was alive when Kennedy was murdered, but I remember LBJ, and he was a great president. He was about civil rights, inclusion, all the things we look for today. But then we moved on past him to Richard Milhouse Nixon, a Republican who was corrupt. And he was almost as corrupt as his vice president, Spiro T. Agnew. Today, we're in a similar situation. The problem is they have the House and the Senate to go along with it, who has approved of a corrupt cabinet, and I'm scared about it. I'm scared about it. The government is supposed to be about the people. Now, Bridget was scraping the bottom of the barrel when she asked her brother to have to come up and speak. But I will tell you that I am proud to be sharing this stage with Erica, Ellen, and Mr. Rasul later on. I feel very blessed and honored to do it. The government is our government. Democracy is by the people, for the people. Shipping people to El Salvador without due process and then saying you can't get them back when you're paying El Salvador to keep them there doesn't really pass the smell test, does it? No! Hands off! Anyway, there's a whole lot going on. I was told I had 5 to 10 minutes. I could go on for hours because there isn't a day that goes by that there isn't a new controversy. Before Trump was elected the second time, I told everybody I could tell that if you put up a calendar across the wall, turned around backwards and threw a dart at it, you would hit a day that he created a scandal. There's no day that there hasn't been a scandal. That is designed for the sole purpose of making us numb to it, making it be normal, so they can sneak in the back door. We won't go! We won't go! So, all that being said, what do? I have been on the ballot. I have been on the ballot. I just happened to put my name on it because nobody opposed Morgan Griffith. Okay, I didn't really declare my candidacy, but who's going to? Nobody opposes Morgan Griffith. He just voted for the SAVE Act. He voted, I'm pretty sure he voted to not even allow the amendment to allow women to change their names that are married. That is infringing on our rights, but more importantly, it's infringing on women's rights. Stand up, be counted, do something, call your congressman, call your senator, get out and do it. Thank you for being here today. Most of y'all probably do way more than I do for this cause. I talk a lot. I post a lot, but I also work a lot. I pay a lot of taxes. And I'm proud to pay those taxes because I love driving on these streets. I love the freedoms that this country gives me. I do not want to give those taxes to the rich. So all that being said, my 5 to 10 minutes are just about up. I love you all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I'm so lucky to have him as a brother. Okay, up next is Jack Leff, who's been very active at our Klein protests every Monday. And he's a friend of mine now, and I'm happy to present him.
Howdy, howdy, everybody! We live in scary times. Many of you have met and had a chance to meet me by now, and if not, you've probably seen me running around this park trying to hand out water a couple of weeks ago on 4-5. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a community organizer for over 11 years, working on a number of issues. I'm also a Jewish activist, and a lot of what I do comes from that place, comes from the ethics that I learned from being Jewish. A preservation of life, a demand to not only do justice, but do justice in the right way. Those are the principles that guide me in my day-to-day work. But it's especially scary now to be a Jewish activist. We have been down this road before and seen where fascism leads us. Over the last 2 years, Republicans, but also Democrats, have been cracking down on Palestinian student activists, Palestinian faculty activists, and their allies. I was arrested last April in a Democratic-run city for protesting alongside my Palestinian brothers and sisters. We did not stand up for them, and we are surprised when they come from our brothers and sisters from El Salvador. We are surprised when they come from our international students from China, from Korea, from India. We should not be surprised. I am so proud of everybody here for standing up. I am so proud for everybody demanding the return of Kilmar Garcia. And we will bring him back. We must bring him back because he represents a litmus test. If they can do it to Kilmar, they can do it to me, they can do it to you. And we've been down that road before. So I have a couple call to actions for you all. One, continue to get involved. On 4-5, we had about 1% of the city. Over 1,000 people come to show up. And that is a fantastic start. But we need more. We need to keep this movement building. The second request that I have for you is that relationships are going to be so important going into this next cycle that we're about to deal with, and it is coming. If you have friends or family who are in ICE or considering ICE, tell them to quit. I want to get a commitment from everybody here today. Not a single ICE agent from Roanoke City, not a single ICE agent from Roanoke County. It is unacceptable to be part of our community and be a member of the Gestapo deporting people against due process of law. Talk to your friends and family. No ICE in Roanoke. And if you have families, friends who are in the military, who are in the police, who are in the National Guard, ask them, where are your red lines? Have hard conversations about not following orders. Because that is when we lose to fascism. Is when people show up to work every day and don't think too hard about what their job is. They say, yes, sir, and they take people away to the concentration camps in El Salvador and others. So please join me in making our Roanoke community safer. Talk to your friends and family, have those tough conversations. Do it because they're going to come for all of us at one point or another. And continue showing up. Continue doing this work. Continue building community, because the only way we're getting out of this is by building a resilient community, organized towards justice, what King called a beloved community. Are you going to join me in building a beloved community?
Yes, we are.
Thank you all for your time.
Isn't he good at this? He's so right on point. And I just want to say, whenever I think about, bringing Kilmar home, I also think, it's not our place to put anybody in a prison in El Salvador. They should all come back. It's not our place. That is not our place. They should all come back. So without further ado, I am honored to introduce our delegate, Sam Rasool, and everybody give him a big hand.
Good afternoon, Roanoke. I'll say hands, you say off. Hands? Off. Hands? Off. Hands? Off. Now we've got another one in the house. We say whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Jack, come on up here first. Jack. Come on up here first. Come on, Jack. We are not asking for solidarity. What happens to one of us is happening to all of us. And now, what's happened over these past 3 months has made crystal clear that it is in fact one struggle, one and of the same. And look at this. It's beautiful to have you here. Look, the reality is I think we've seen this, no kings, right? Let me tell you, the problem isn't kings. It's king makers. If you want to figure out what's really going on, you look behind the scenes in politics. And I've been in it long enough to know, man, it's not about who this person is, it's who put them in power. Yes! Right? And I remember there was this philosopher who said, you know, we can't just mobilize. Today is a mobilization. A mobilization of hundreds of people coming together saying enough is enough. But mobilization by itself is actually detrimental. Why? Because we think we're doing something. We're not. We're just simply coming together today. But you know what step 2 is? Is organizing. We use this as an excuse. We mobilize as an excuse to take the next step, which is to organize. Organize around dismantling those systems, around those kingmakers who have taken our democracy from us. Organize for those most vulnerable in our community. And there are 3 ways for us to organize. If you want to figure out what you're going to do with your time, I have people all the time, they come up to me and say, Sam, I'm so pissed. I don't know exactly what to do. So there's 3 ways to advocate. There's 3 ways to organize. 1 is advocacy. Just like y'all are doing every week, giving them heck, going and meeting with these legislators, sometimes even coming and yelling at me. That's advocacy. Making sure we're keeping everyone honest. Number 2 is elections, which you've heard over and over again. You know all about elections, being involved. The greatest protection for Virginians, the greatest protection for us, based on our Constitution, is what? The state. So we've got to win the governorship, and we have to hold the House. Whose house? Whose house? Certainly I've got a race, but you know, I'm the only Democrat in the western half of the state in the legislature. I'm tired of arguing with myself. Please give me people to argue with. Of course, my former chief of staff, Billy Franklin, would be great to argue with. Lord knows she's argued with me plenty already. And trust me, she can do the job better than 80% of the people down there. So I'm excited to be able to serve with Lily. But the last thing we can be doing, of course, is being involved in these local organizations. You heard of Roanoke Refugee Partnership, but there are so many, Blue Ridge Literacy, etc. They need our help. They're losing grants. They need volunteers. They need us to step up. So pick a lane and be in that lane. Make time every week. You have to put it on your calendar. It's not aspirational. Put it on your calendar. This is my resistance. I'm either doing good by helping these orgs, I'm advocating, or I'm helping to elect people that represent my values. 10 years ago, Bridget, come on up here for a second. So when I got elected about a decade ago, I got elected not by holding this. I got elected really by building consensus, by going around to neighborhoods, finding communities that I could build consensus with, and building bridges. And I got down to the legislature, and I started realizing there's some things that are really ticking me off. And I didn't understand why. The first bill that I ever saw that was terrible was a utility Dominion bill. Dominion, boo! And they were stealing $500 million from you, the ratepayers. And I was so pissed. I was like, what is going on here? And then a few months later, people like Bridget and others said, hey, we got the Mountain Valley Pipeline coming on through.
That's right.
And the terrible thing was these things were being championed by both sides of the aisle. But it got my blood boiling. It got me going. And the reality is when we talk about things like Palestine or Congo, I don't say that we should stand because I am Palestinian American. Because I'm Palestinian American, that is exactly why I get so upset with bullies. Whether they're stealing our land, whether they're stealing our rights, and right now, whether they're stealing our democracy. We should stand up in solidarity and understand that this is in fact one struggle in and of the same. And I bring up Bridget because she was arrested too. They locked her up. No, she was arrested as well. She was making sacrifices with the Mountain Valley Pipeline, trying to ensure that we were protecting our community in all of its forms. So I appreciate you. Let's give Bridget a big round of applause. So lastly, I will say there was a great philosopher named James Baldwin. Anyone heard of him? Yeah. I didn't learn about him in school, I'll tell you that much. But as an adult, I'm learning deeper and deeper about these wonderful individuals. And James Baldwin said this. He said, "I am never in despair. The world enrages me. There's so many things that I'm upset at, but I am never in despair. Because despair is the absence of hope, and the children cannot be without hope." And when you look, and when we look around this crowd today, what do we see? A whole lot of hope. And so, hands, 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 whose house? Whose house? Let's see if they're paying attention over here. Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? Yes, thank you so much, Bridget.
Fabulous, we're so lucky. Woo-hoo! I forgot to be making the line for an open mic. That's where we are. Does anyone want to get up and speak? Come on up. Want to speak? Please get in line behind her. There's the line. Hello.
Hello.
I'm not going to speak, I'm going to sing, and I'm going to get you to sing with me. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me. Tell me. Tell me.
What democracy looks like.
Tell me.
What democracy looks like.
Tell me.
What democracy looks like.
Yeah. This is a colony box. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Everyone, you gotta put one foot in front of
For more than 30 years, I taught history. I taught a lot of U.S. history, and I always taught early American history as a celebration of a new idea that was based on the finest principles of human rights. I taught middle schoolers. I am so glad, thank you, I am so glad that I am not teaching middle schoolers right now, because I cannot imagine how I could explain any of this. Exactly. So we need to do something. Democracy is a beautiful thing, and it is being pulled apart in front of our eyes. We are the glue that will put it back together. Thank you.
I did not plan to speak, so this is going to be a little scattered. I'm Teresa. I've lived in the Roanoke Valley since 1992. I grew up in Ohio, which sadly is deeply red now. My parents were good, strong Democrats, and I had the good fortune to be born to a wonderful family in a very middle-class neighborhood in Ohio. What about all of those people around the earth who did not have the blessings that I had? I started going to Guatemala in 2013, and I have learned a tremendous amount. First of all, I did not realize until then, even though I had all kinds of history classes, we are responsible. The United States is responsible for the devastation of Central America. In 1953, Guatemala elected a Democrat, a strong democratically elected president, but the Dulles brothers, you know the name D-U-L-L-E-S, airport up near D.C., did not like that president because they were afraid he was going to give land back to the indigenous Mayan people in Guatemala. So he and the CIA had that newly elected president deposed in 1950s, and since then there has only been one truly decent election in Guatemala, and that was 2 years ago. But the man who was elected is fighting the autocracy that has been there since 54. He's hanging on by his fingernails. But what I wanted to say too is, you heard about the Roanoke Refugee Partnership. I have participated. You have to have a background check to help them. No problem for all of us. But there was another organization created in 2017-ish. Sound like a familiar year. There was an asylum seeker group also created. If you don't know the difference between refugees and asylum seekers, look it up. This organization that continues now, Beth Macy sent out a wonderful letter yesterday and put it on Substack. Find it. Read Beth Macy's letter. It talks about this group. It's not the Refugee Partnership. They do wonderful work. But there's another group that focuses on asylum seekers. Okay. And the leader is actually afraid. I'm not going to tell you the name. He's afraid because he has 25 families that are dependent on this group for food and rent and help to get through the incredibly difficult process of getting a green card and citizenship. 3 of the breadwinners from that group of 25 families have now been deported. And the leader is terrified that somebody will come to his house, that ICE will come to his house and get the list of these people and go and deport them. These are people who have faced horrible situations. Central America is on the top 10 list of natural disasters in the world. Hurricanes coming from the east, cyclones coming from the west, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting. It's a very
Hi, can y'all hear me? All right, I'm Tiffany. I am a queer single mother of 2 disabled kids. They're amazing children. But what I'm here to talk about today is the dehumanization of large groups of people. I've watched this administration dehumanize immigrants, and now they're disappearing them. I've watched this administration dehumanize queer people, and I wonder when we will start disappearing. And now, RFK, speaking about autistic individuals as though they are not even human beings. When will they not start disappearing them? It is a systematic and awful and disgusting descent into hell. We are watching in front of our very eyes as our friends and neighbors are characterized as subhuman and not worthy of rights or respect or even life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I am here because my children are not subhuman. My children are wonderful, important, valuable people with great perspective that adds to the richness and the diversity of this country. Do not let them dehumanize the people that you love. When you see somebody being harassed because they are an immigrant, or because they are queer, or because they are disabled, you need to speak up. Be loud. Be unapologetic. Be rude. The time for polite disagreement is over. And now I want to introduce my daughter, Devlin.
Hi, I'm the disabled child she talked about. I'm gonna be more lighthearted because I think she got angry enough to make up for all the anger that I have in my body. Why does RFK address us like we can't date people? It's not my fault that he can't get laid. It's not my fault he can't cheat on his very successful actress wife. Why does he think that I just can't get more than he does? And I'm asexual. What does he think that I can't do? Regardless, the point here I'm trying to make is, like, if you want to try to get past the autistic misinformation, conspiracy theory rhetoric, here's some things that you should probably bring up to people that think that autism was caused by the evil science vaccine group or whatever. Basically, what's generally accepted now is that autism is genetic. I mean, how else would I have gotten here? There is also, so if you want to think that vaccines are the real cause to autism, good luck. I won't stop you, but you're probably going to be treated like a loser. However, I do think that to get it through, you're going to have to humanize autistic people, as she said very, very clearly. And in that way, you gotta remind people that autistic people can date and can pay taxes because, like, I can do math. I suck at math, but I can do math. And even while they keep going on about how autistic people are not functional, how they can't do jobs because they think that I'm just incapable of working at the same level as everyone else. Why? I got kicked out of, I dropped out willingly out of high school because, like, no one wanted to accommodate me. It's not my fault that I'm failing, it's their goddamn fault. At least I get to go to prom. That's fun, I guess. But you need to make it clear to these people. Autism is not a letdown. I'm not less able to work than everyone else. The world treats me as if I can't work. The world is treating me as if I'm subhuman. Everyone else is treating me like I'm less of a person before I am. All right? No matter how many times someone is going to say vaccines cause autism, autistic people can't work, or just straight up advocating for eugenics, stop believing that. Hammer it in their heads that autistic people are still people. They still work. There's an autistic person in your job right now, probably.
Amen. Amen.
This applies to other disabled folks. Down syndrome, physically disabled people, such as those that rely on wheelchairs, walkers, scooters, I think they're called. You gotta hammer it in. They're not unable to work. The world just refuses to let them work. That's all I have to say. Hammer it through them. Do not let the rest of us down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Roanoke. Thank you all for being here today. This is very, very important. Things like this are going to stop the madness that is happening coming out of Washington right now. If we keep gathering, if we keep showing up and keep resisting, then we can stop this. But we have reached a critical point. We have reached a truly critical point, because now people are being disappeared from all walks of life. Not just illegal immigrants, but even people who have every right to be here are just getting snatched up by people who do not show any credentials at all, and they just take them and they send them to a gulag in El Salvador, and that is not acceptable at all. I am very grateful that the courts are finally starting to do their jobs and stop some of this stuff up. But tonight, they are supposed to be shipping 200 more people off to El Salvador. People are trying their damnedest to stop that from happening. If that plane leaves, that is the point of no return. That is the point of no return. We're playing a game of chicken with the White House right now, and we're waiting to see if they're going to blink or if they're going to double down. That's why we have to be here. That's why we have to be out there making sure that they know what the price of doubling down actually is. So thank you all for being here. Keep showing up, and we will get through this. We will get through this. Thank you.
Thank you. We will. Do it.
Can you hear me? I'm a 71-year-old cisgendered mother and grandmother from Bedford, and I'm here to speak out for my children and my grandchildren. I was raised to say if I saw something was wrong. There are so many things we see right now that are wrong. For the richest man in the world to take food away from the poorest children in the world is wrong. This is wrong. For two men who have never served in the military to take away benefits from veterans who have given their all, this is wrong. And when our government admits they made a mistake by sending someone to El Salvador that shouldn't have been sent, and yet refusing to bring them home, this is wrong. We must continue to speak out when we see things that are wrong.
Speak out. Amen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Carter. How are we up today? I have been protesting since I was 12 years old. I started with the School of Americas in Georgia. Yes. We have been messed up for a long time, but right now we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it today. And what I'm telling you is that we need to get uncomfortable.
There is going to be discomfort in this movement where you're going to be standing up to things that feel different for you because we're used to going along with whatever they're telling us. We fight fascism in small ways. Are you on an online forum that you can ban MAGA posts calling people idiots? That's fighting fascism. Are you speaking up in videotaping when you see ICE or when you see police? That fights fascism. Every single thing we need to move forward is to fight this administration, to fight for our society, to fight for our brothers and sisters. We deserve to have our safety returned to us. We are absolutely love and light, but we will not tolerate intolerance. We will not turn away from our brothers and our sisters, no matter what faith, no matter what gender, no anything. If they have a heart and they bleed, they deserve our love. And that sucks to do. You're gonna have to like people that are awful. You're gonna have to be uncomfortable standing up to them. It is not fun, but it is now our duty. We have had people fight and die for just the ability for what we have right here. We deserve to show up for them. We deserve to show up for us. And we deserve to show up for our younger youth coming up. So I'm going to leave you now, but I just want a really good chant before we go to rise this up and to remember, this is what democracy looks like.
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 This looks like democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Go out there, talk to people, get to know your neighbors, figure out what talents you have to share and share them with an open heart. Please, thank you so much for being here. Every one of you is a drop of light in this very murky sea. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So before we break apart and maybe go over here to the street and show the cars and the drivers what democracy looks like, mark your calendars for May 1st. That is the next opportunity well, actually it's not. Every Monday at noon, down here at the Truist building outside Ben Klein's office is your every week opportunity to come out and say something as a big group, but you have an opportunity every single day to go out and show people what democracy looks like. On May 1st, that's International Workers' Day. Somebody tell me. No? I don't know. It's a big protest at River's Edge with Roanoke Indivisible at 6:30 p.m. So it's in the evening at 6:30 p.m. River's Edge. Look for information on Roanoke Indivisible's website. This was not organized by Roanoke Indivisible, but they are doing that one, and they're going to have so much information out, and we want to see you all there with so much energy. And bring your friends. Let's fill River's Edge to the brim.
I like to call the May Day protest May Day, SOS. We're in trouble. So I want to close. I just can't thank you all enough for coming out today. We just did this grassroots. We just think we need to keep this momentum going. I'm going to close with this poem. I know, another poem, oh no. But it's a beautiful poem that was read at Obama's inauguration, the first one. It's called Praise Song for the Day. Each day we go about our business, walking past each other, catching each other's eyes or not, about to speak or speaking. All about us is noise. All about us is noise and bramble, thorn and din, each one of our ancestors on our tongues. Someone is stitching up a hymn, darning a hole in a uniform. patching a tire, repairing the things in need of repair. Someone is trying to make music somewhere with a pair of wooden spoons on an oil drum, with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice. A woman and her son wait for the bus. A farmer considers the changing sky. A teacher says, "Take out your pencils, begin." We encounter each other in words. Words. Spiny or smooth, whispered or declaimed, words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads and highways that mark the will of someone, and then others who said, "I need to see what's on the other side. I know there's something better down the road. We need to find a place where we are safe. We walk into that which we cannot yet see. Say it plain, that many have died for this day. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here, who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce, built brick by brick the glittering edifices they would then keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for struggle. Praise song for the day. Praise song for every hand-lettered sign. The figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by love thy neighbor as thyself. Others by first do no harm or take no more than you need. What if the mightiest word is love? Love beyond marital, national love that casts a widening pool of light. Love with no need to preempt grievance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made, any sentence begun. On the brink, on the brim, on the cusp, praise song for walking forward in that light. And with that, I want to thank you all so much for being here. I can't thank you enough. We can do chants here, we can move out.